Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Today we are going to discuss the basic concept of instruction level parallelism, and we will discuss some basic concept about the multi-system or multi-core processor or pipelining concepts or the related theory about the pipelining or parallelism concept. So the computer technology had made incredible progress for more than 50 to 60 years, and in the last 10 to 15 years we have seen a high rapid increase in the technology. If we look at our computer systems today that we are using in our daily lives, in our industry, for our official or domestic purpose, so the idea behind the computer system evolution or computers evolution or enhancement to give a steady approach or to give easy approach to solve the basic or complex problem of our industry that may be related to scientific or computational research. So the concept of microprocessor was started late in 1970s. It was totally based on integrated circuit, that was ICs, and the growth rate it was combined with the cost made a high revolution in the computer market. So two significant changes in the computer market took place, which made it a lot easier than before. So the successful rate that was seen by the introduction of microprocessor in the computer market was very high. So the start of microprocessor or the uses of integrated circuit or IC that has made an impact, high impact on the computer market. So we all know that in the earliest stage assembly language programming was used. So the virtual elimination of assembly language programming reduced the need of object code compatibility. That was the first change. And the second change was the creation of standardized and vendor independent operating systems, that was a Unix and its clone or a Linux. It has both of them has lowered the cost and risk of bringing out a new architecture. So a new set of architecture, that is RISC architecture, also known as reduced instructions and computer architecture, in early 1980s. It also made possible to successfully develop a new set of architectures. So different architectures, mainly two high popular architectures that are being used in computer systems. One is the RISC architecture and the other is the CISC architecture. So the RISC based machine that were focused on the attention, and they have made attended the designers on two critical performance techniques: the exploitation of instruction level parallelism. So initially the pipelining concept was introduced, and then later on through multiple instruction issues and the uses of cache memory has solved the problem of our computational research. So the combination of architecture and organization enhancement, it has led to the 20 years of sustained growth in the performance, and it was up to 50% of annual. So there was a 10 years of, you can say, that technology gap between and after every 10 years. The technology changed. In 1960s, the mainframe computers, 70s was the era of mini computers, the desktop computers that were came in the computer market in 1980s, and then we saw that in early 90s or in 1990s, the internet and the facility of World Wide Web, it was the successful evolution of computer system and computer tech. So the changes that were seen in these gaps, they give the concept to introduce three different computing markets, and these are all based on the application requirements and technology. So the desktop computing, the idea of servers and the evolution of embedded computers that were seen in the computer market as a three main or basic technological improvement or enhancement in our computer market. So the main task of the designer that was to face the complex problems that may be of the hardware challenges or the software challenges, and it determines the attributes that were important for a new computer or a new machine. So the idea was to design such machine that maximize the performance within the available cost and available resources. So this task had many aspects in sense of instruction set design, functional organization, logical design, and the implementation of that logical design. So the implementation that was being made out for the integrated circuit or IC technology was designing, packaging, power, and cooling. These are factors were seen, observed, tested to have a better integrated circuit technology for the computer system. Also, the optimizing of the design that required different familiarities with the range of technologies from compilers, operating system to logic design and packaging. So all of these factors were studied, they were being involved in the industry to improve, enhance the integrated circuit technology. The integrated circuit technologies used the transistor logic, and it increases by 35% per year. That was a statistical analysis for the designing of ICs, and it was quadrupling in somewhat over 4 years. So the increase in die size that was less predictable and slower, and it ranged from 10% to 20%. So the combined effect was a growth rate in transistor that was count on a chip of about 55% per year. Later on, the semiconductor dynamic random access memories, it was introduced, and the density that was increased in between 40 to 60% per year, and it was quadrupling in 3 to 4 years. So the cycle time was improved, and it was improved very slowly, and it decreased about one third in 10 years. The bandwidth per chip also increased, and it was increased about twice as fast as the latency was decreased. So these are all the hardware technologies or hardware trends that were seen in the computer market, starting from the integrated circuit, the semiconductor DRAM, and the magnetic disk technology that was involved in the computer market as the technology. Later on, the network technology was introduced, and we saw that for the past 20 to 25 years, we started from 10 megabits or 10 megabytes, and now we are dealing in gigabytes for our data transfer or data transmission. So the integrated circuit cost, it has become a greater portion for designing point of view, and it varies between machine to machine, especially in a high volume. These are cost sensitive portion of the market. So during the computer system design, a designer must understand the cost of chips so as to understand the cost of current computers. The cost of integrated circuit has dropped exponentially. It is because of the silicon industry of the computer market. So a wafer is being used, it is tested and then chopped into dice that are packed. So the cost of the packed integrated circuit, it was given formula cost of die this, with the addition of cost of testing die along with the cost of packing and final test per final test yield. So the cost of die was then equal to cost of wafer per dice per wafer into die yield. So that was the mathematical formula to calculate the overall cost of the die in the sense of testing, packaging, and final that was being launched in the market. So when the integrated circuit it was manufactured and it came to the market, then the main concept or the main idea was to measure the performance of that computer system or that microprocessor. So what were the parameters or what were the factors that were used to evaluate or to judge the performance of the system? One idea was that a computer system may be fast if it completes more jobs in an hour. There were different ideas related to the performance of the system. The other idea was about its response time. The third idea or the idea other than these were also the execution time. So to measure the performance of a computer system, it was also a challenge in the computers market. So the concept of benchmarks was introduced, and the collection of benchmark was tried to measure the performance of the processors related to the variety of applications. So SPEC, Standard Performance Evaluation Corporation, it took the charge to evaluate and to measure the performance of the processors. So different benchmarks were introduced for measuring computer system or for measuring the microprocessor on the basis of different applications or descriptions. So business Winstone, high-end Winstone, CC Winstone and WinBench, these were the benchmarks used to evaluate or to measure the performance of the microprocessor. The desktop benchmarks, it was divided into two broad classes: the CPU intensive benchmarks and the graphics intensive benchmarks. The server benchmarks were divided into multiple types of benchmarks because of the multiple functions. The simplest benchmark is a CPU throughput oriented benchmark. Also, there were some embedded benchmarks, embedded microprocessor benchmark consortium, that fall into five classes: the automotive, industrial, consumer networking, office automation, and telecommunication. These are were the five benchmarks that was used to evaluate the performance of embedded microprocessors. So these benchmarks can be seen on eembc.org. We have total 16 type of benchmarks for automotive or industrial, 5 for consumers, 3 for networking, 4 for office automation and 6 for telecommunication. So these are types are divided into subdivided into different categories. 6 micro benchmarks in the 16 automotive or industrial benchmarks are for arithmetic operations, pointer changing, memory performance. These are all the applications that are involved in the computer system, and these are measured for the evaluation and for the performance measurements. So now we will explore some of the guidelines or the principles that are useful in designing and analysis of the computers. The first or the main is to make the common case first. The most important and pervasive principle that has been adopted for the computer system device or for the computer system design to make the common case first. So it is a fundamental principle that has been linked to a fundamental law which is called Amdahl's law, and it can be used to quantify or to explain this principle. So Amdahl's law says that the performance improvement to be gained from using some faster mode of execution. It means that a performance can be achieved or performance can be improved by using some faster mode of execution. It the execution can be in the form of instruction execution, execution, program running, whatever application we are going to implement in the computer system. So it will be limited by the fraction of time the faster mode can be used. So the improvement can be achieved by using some faster mode, but it is limited by the fraction of time the faster mode is used. So Amdahl's laws defines the speed up that can be gained by using some particular features. So the speed up can be measured by taking the ratio of performance for the entire task, using the enhancement, and the performance for entire task without the enhancement. So we can explain by example that if 20 seconds of the execution time of a program that takes 60 seconds in total, it can be used as an enhancement. So the diffraction will be 20 by 60. This fraction is always less than or equal to 1. It should not be greater than 1. So by this formula we can evaluate or we can find or we can measure the speed up of our system, and Amdahl's law, it described the speed of the processor or the computer system. The other idea is to take the advantage of parallelism. It is one of the most important method for improving the performance. The use of parallelism, the system workload or the throughput or the latency can be improved, and one of the simplest way to do this is through pipelining. So it reduces the total time to complete a sequence of instructions. We will discuss pipelining in detail in the next lecture, how pipelining works, what is the basic idea behind the pipelining, and how the total time can be reduced to complete the overall sequence of instructions by using pipelining. So now we will discuss some of the architectures that were introduced in computer system market. These are architectures are related to single processor, multiprocessor, single input and multiple inputs. So Flint's had a popular taxonomy of computer architecture defined in 1966. Two types of information flow for the processor, that was instructions and data. So we have discussed in detail the instruction and data in our previous lectures. So Flint's taxonomy, it used the instruction or data types for the information flow in the system. So Flint's classified the instruction or data stream into four different categories. The first one was single instruction, single data stream. The second one was single instruction, multiple data stream. The third was multiple instruction, single data stream, and the fourth was multiple instruction, multiple data stream. So the one computers that were classified as SISD systems. The parallel computers are either SIMD or MIMD. When there is only one control unit and all the processors execute the same instruction in a synchronized fashion, the parallel machine is classified as SIMD. And in MIMD machine or an MIMD computers, each processor has its own control unit and it can execute different instructions on different data. Also in MISD category, the same stream of data flows through a linear array of processes. So in this figure we are monitoring the SISD architecture and SIMD architecture. In SISD architecture, a single stream can be seen. The control unit is connected to a single processor and memory. While in SIMD architecture, the control unit is connected to multiple processors and each processor is connected to a memory module. The MIMD architectures, each control unit is connected to its own processor and memory, and we can use n number of control units, n number of processors, and n memory modules depending upon our system compatibility and system requirement. So SIMD model of parallel computing, they consist of two parts, a front-end computer and a processor array. The processor array is a set of identical synchronized processing elements and they are simultaneously performing the same operation on different. So each processor in the array has a small amount of local memory. The processor array is also connected to a memory bus of the front end and it can randomly access the local processor memories. The SIMD is particularly available to common tasks like adjusting the contrast in our digital image processing applications or digital signal processing applications. It can be image related to the image or audio files. So most of the modern CPU designs they include SIMD instructions so as to improve the performance of multimedia applications that are related to digital image processing or digital signal processing. The MIMD architecture or multiple instruction multiple data stream architectures, they are made of parallel processors and multiple memory modules, as we have discussed or as we have monitored in the previous figures. So these are all connected together by some interconnection networks, and it falls into two broad categories. One is the shared memory or message passing. The next figure will illustrate the general two categories. So in the first figure, a shared memory architecture is being monitored. There are different memory modules which are connected to form a shared memory. They are connected with the processor through some inter-network connections. The processors can use these shared memory through the interconnection network. The second type is the message passing architecture. All the processors are connected with a separate memory, and processors are also connected with the interconnection networks. So a shared memory system, it typically accomplishes the inter-processor coordination through a global memory and is shared by all the processors. These are typically servers which communicate through a bus and a cache memory controller. And each processor has its equal opportunity to read or write and to be involved in all of these operations. And a message pass system is typically combines a local memory and processor at each node, and all of these processors and memory modules are connected with an interconnection networks. There will be no global memory, so it is easier or necessary to move data from one local memory to another by means of message pass. So there are a number of basic issues in the design of shared memories that should be followed. These includes control, synchronization, protection, and securities, the major factors in a system design. So the access control determines which processor accesses is possible. The synchronization constraints limit the time of access from sharing process to shared. The message passing system are the class of multiprocessors in which each processor has access to its own local memory. So, unlike a shared memory system, communication in message passing system are performed through send and receive operation. A node is involved in such system that consists of a processor and its local memory, and they are typically able to store messages in. So these employs a variety of static networks in local communication. Different important design factors that should be considered in designing the interconnection networks. These are the bandwidth, latency, throughput, end-to-end delay. All of the factors should be considered during the designing process. The bandwidth is defined as the number of bits that can be transmitted per unit time, and the latency is defined as the time to complete a message transfer. So if we are connecting our processors and memories through different interconnection networks or in a same interconnection network, so the interconnection network can be classified based on number of criterias, that is the mode of operation, control strategy, switching technique, and topology. All of these modes, we are familiar with these modes. The mode of operation, it can be synchronous or asynchronous. The control strategy may be a centralized or decentralized. The switching technique, it may be circuit or a packet switching. And the topology, it may be a static or dynamic. So these interconnection networks are classified as synchronous or asynchronous. The synchronous mode of operation has a single global clock and it is used by all the computers. It means that all the operations that are synchronized with the clock. The asynchronous mode of operation is independent of the global clock. The handshaking signal are used instead of clock signal in order to coordinate for different operations or tasks during any program execution or computational process. It can also be classified as centralized or decentralized. A single central control unit is used in centralized control system, and the control function is distributed among different components in decentralized controls. There are different switching techniques and can be classified according to the mechanism. A circuit and a packet switching technique, it can be used. In circuit switching, a complete path has been a complete path is first established before the start of the communication. And in packet switching, the communication between a source and destination take place via messages. So there is a dedicated path for circuit switching, and for packet switching the path is defined during the data transfer. Different topologies that can also be used, and it is also an important factor for the interconnection networks. We are all familiar for the topologies that are being used in our computer systems. So in this figure we can classify the type of strategy or network that is being used. The message passing internetworks can also be divided into static and dynamics. In static networks, when the system is designed rather than the connection is needed, and in dynamic internetworks, it establishes a connection between two or more nodes on the fly when the messages are routed. So these are the topologies that are being used or involved in the interconnection. And this figure is showing the dynamic example of dynamic networks. So till now we have discussed the basic concept of our computer hardware design. What will be the basic features or basic concept to design a computer system in order to implement the structure level parallelism or pipelining. In the next lecture we will inshallah discuss the basic concept of pipelining. the main factors that are being involved in the pipelining process, how pipelining works, and what are the factors that are being involved in the designing of pipelining concept. Thank you.